We're talking with friends and family of two Marines from York County, both killed in Afghanistan.
Police close off a street on York's west side as they investigate the second homicide of the year.
Members of the Pittsburgh Synagogue will join legislators at the Capitol today to pay tribute to loved ones that were lost in the massacre. We'll tell you the latest coming up.
After 1 year, we'll give you an update on the investigation into the person who burned this bridge.
More seasonable temperatures again tomorrow, but it looks like we do warm up heading into the weekend.
Coverage you can count on continues. This is WGAL News 8 at 6.
Friends and family are calling two Marines from the Susquehanna Valley killed in Afghanistan heroes. Good evening, I'm Kim Lemon.
And I'm Brian Roach. 31-year-old Sergeant Benjamin Hines was from Dallastown. 43-year-old Staff Sergeant Christopher Slutman was born in York County, and his parents live there.
WGAL News 8's Barbara Barr spoke with Slutman's father.
The chimes tinkle softly in a spring breeze outside the Slutman home in York County. Inside, a father grieves.
I talked to my parents a lot, who are both dead, and I told them Monday night that Christopher was coming. Take care of him.
Fletcher Slutman and his wife Mary learned Monday night their son, Staff Sergeant Christopher Slutman, was one of 3 Marines killed in a roadside bomb attack in Afghanistan.
Opened the front door and looked at the 2 Marines in uniform, and I said, "This is not good."
As you can tell by the American flags planted around the house, Chris Slutman comes from a military family. A decorated Marine, Christopher was also recognized for his courage as a New York City firefighter, receiving an award for bravery.
Christopher was a great son. He was a great father. Everything he did well.
As condolences arrive at his parents' home, Christopher Slutman also leaves behind a wife and 3 children in Delaware. In York County, Barbara Barr, WGAL News 8.
Sergeant Benjamin Hines graduated from Dallastown High School in York County in 2006. The district released a statement saying, in part, "The Wildcat Nation mourns his loss and extends our deepest sympathy and condolences to his parents, family members, friends, and classmates and fellow Marines. He was a strong leader and member of our first year's Marine Junior ROTC class of cadets." Hines was also a football player for the school in 2005.
Right now, police in York are investigating the city's second homicide of the year. This happened this morning on York's west side. WGAL News 8's Ed Weinstock was there.
As police stood outside the house at 702 West Princess Street, the operation attracted a lot of attention from people in the neighborhood. Some recorded the officers who closed part of the street. Police were at the house for more than 3 hours.
I know them. I know that they got problems, but I don't know what happened there.
Police say the victim was shot at least once. A suspect was taken into custody right away, but police didn't immediately identify either one.
Was going to the store right here and seen the activity and came back around and parked.
This is the second case of gun violence in York this week. A couple of days ago, a 13-year-old boy was shot. It also was on the west side. The 600 and 700 blocks of West Princess Street have seen a lot of gun violence over the years. Residents often hear gunshots, but no one we spoke with heard any shots coming from the house. In York, Ed Weinstock, WGAL News 8.
The victim in this shooting has not been identified. His autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow.
A Lancaster County doctor is charged with having indecent contact with a male patient. State police say Dr. William Woiner touched the victim's genitals during a visit March 23rd at his office in Quarryville for an ankle injury. The doctor told a trooper yesterday he did an immobilization technique, which led to something, quote, "that I'm not very proud of in terms of inappropriate relationship between a physician and a patient." Dr. Woiner is no longer employed by Diamond Toney and Associates, where he has worked since 1992 in family and sports medicine.
A York man has died following a car fire last month. 77-year-old Gary Graybill of York died yesterday morning from his injuries sustained in a car fire on March 9th on Market Street in York. There's no word on exactly what caused that fire, but his death has been ruled an accident.
On to Lancaster County, where police are investigating an aggravated assault. It happened last night just before 9 on East Frederick and Marshall Streets. Police say the victim was walking down an alley when 2 men wearing dark clothing slammed his head against a fence and started to punch, kick, and stab him. The suspects then ran off in an unknown direction. The victim was taken to a nearby hospital for his injuries.
State lawmakers are paying tribute to victims of the Tree of Life massacre in Pittsburgh.
WGAL News 8's Jeremy Jenkins has more.
For the first time since 9/11, both representatives and senators from across the aisle are coming together for a common goal: supporting the Tree of Life massacre victims through legislation.
It brings tears to my eyes every time I hear her name. I miss her terribly. She shouldn't have died, and she shouldn't have died this way.
Andrea Wedner's mother was one of the 11 people who were killed in an attack on the Saturday morning Shabbat service last October. Today, legislators held a special joint session in honor of those victims.
Both sides of the aisle, members of the community all across the state, we stand with everyone in Squirrel Hill to say no more hate, no more hate. It's just wrong.
During the session, lawmakers passed a resolution making April 10th Stronger Than Hate Day, something Wedner says gives her hope for the future.
The fact that everybody came together in that room, that's a shining example that everybody can come together and get along.
Lawmakers are hoping that same message will spread across the state. Reporting at the Capitol, Jeremy Jenkins, WGAL News 8.
State lawmakers are pushing to reform the statute of limitations for child sex abuse victims. Attorney General Josh Shapiro joined Senator Katie Muth and other advocates at the state capitol today in support of the proposed legislation that would change the statute of limitations. Currently under state law, victims who were under the age of 18 when the abuse occurred have 12 years after their 18th birthday to file civil charges. The bill would support a 2-year window for victims who are now over the age of 30 to sue.
Imagine getting to the bottom of a box where you were completing a 1,000-piece puzzle and one piece was missing. Without justice, the ability to stand and face my predator, that piece will always be missing for me. That window is the answer.
Supporters of the bill argue that children are often unable to process what happened to them until well into their adult years.
New tonight, a judge is giving former Penn State President Graham Spanier 3 weeks to report to jail and start serving a 2-month sentence imposed from his handling of a complaint about Jerry Sandusky showering with a boy. Court documents say Spanier can do his time in the jail near his home in State College if county jail wardens approve. If not, he will come to Dauphin County. Spanier has remained out on bail after his 2017 conviction for misdemeanor child endangerment.
A Downington man will spend up to 8 years in prison after a DUI crash in Lancaster County last year that seriously injured a woman. Police say 29-year-old Mark Harvey was illegally passing other drivers on Route 30 last June when he hit a vehicle and caused it to overturn. The DA's office said the woman in that car suffered 22 broken bones and will likely be in therapy now for the rest of her life. Police say Harvey ran away from the crash scene. When officers found him, they said he smelled of alcohol and admitted to smoking marijuana every hour of every day.
This Friday marks 1 year since someone set fire to the Mardick Forge Bridge that connects Mardick and Conestoga Townships in Lancaster County.
WGAL News 8's Caitlin Smith has an update now on the police investigation and the progress to rebuild it.
It was April 12th, 2018.
We could see the smoke coming up behind the hill here, and they just said the bridge was on fire.
A few days later, police determined someone did this on purpose. 1 year later, they still don't know who.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
Mardick Township Supervisor Carl Drexel and his wife often walk the Enola low-grade trail. Here's what it looked like before the bridge burned. This is what it looks like now.
Basically starting over.
The two townships spent the majority of the insurance money, about $600,000, cleaning up after the fire. They think it will take about $2.5 million to rebuild, and that is the plan.
We're excited to get this thing up and running again.
All that is left of the bridge is the base. The wooden deck is what burned away, and when they rebuild this time, they're going to use concrete.
So there'll be nothing burnable on it.
It will be similar to this design for the Safe Harbor Bridge. Both could be done within 2 years. In Lancaster County, Caitlin Smith, WGAL News 8.
Discover Lancaster has canceled its annual meeting at the Star Barn Village, which was scheduled for tomorrow. This decision comes amid controversy surrounding Stone Gable Estate's decision to not allow same-sex couples to be married at their venues. Discover Lancaster released a statement today saying, in part, the current dynamic of the escalating media and online discussions has also made it unlikely that this year's annual meeting will be able to fulfill its purpose of celebrating our tourism community and our award winners. Protesters plan to gather at Elizabethtown Square tomorrow at 11 a.m. to demonstrate against the policy. Coming up next.
The FBI could soon be under review. I'm Matt Pritchard in Washington with why the Attorney General is heading up that effort.
The Lancaster-Lebanon League is looking for a new logo, and these are all student created.
Another nice day on tap tomorrow, but the rain does return with some thunder showers late on Friday. Dries out for a nice warmer Saturday, but as we head into Sunday, more rain may come back in. We'll time everything out, sort out the details coming up.